We play and call it work.
Hey there guys, Quirk here from MiniWarGaming.com, and welcome to this week's Sit and Talk with me, Quirk. Quick reminder for everybody out there, next week is going to be a Sit and Talk with Steve, so if you have any questions or comments for him, go ahead and in the comment section on MiniWarGaming.com, just put Steve and then your question or comments that we know it's for him. And without further ado, the way this works, we've got 30 minutes free, and then another 30 minutes in the vault where I will just be answering the questions you've submitted for me. And let's get a timer going here so I don't mess this up. Boop. There we go. All right, let's begin. First question we have here is from the Danish Viking Alex. Hey Quirk, thanks for the awesome content. Will we see a retrospective review of Chaos Demons in the future? Also, what do you think of Age of Sigmar's 2nd edition? Do you think it has changed the game a lot? I heard you guys use the terms WYSIWYG and Mark of Dave. What does it mean and where does it come from? Happy wargaming. Okay, so the first one for the retrospective review for the Chaos Demons. Absolutely. Well, not really one I've been thinking of doing because I haven't really played Demons too much. When I do dabble with them, I usually just kind of play Tzeentch type stuff. But I can definitely look into doing a retrospective review of Chaos Demons as a whole. Don't see any reason why not. What do I think of the Age of Sigmar's 2nd edition? I haven't gotten to play it very much, but from the few games that I have played, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I like what they've gone and done with the random turns, giving you buffs right there, as well as all the endless spells. The endless spells are actually sweet. And then giving everybody the option to use the command points for your command abilities and different things like that. It makes it really, really cool right there. And it makes command abilities a little bit more usable as opposed to the way they were before, where it was you kind of get stuck with one. Now you have the ability to use any of them that are available in the army, so that's kind of cool. As for the terms WYSIWYG and Mark of Dave, well, WYSIWYG is an abbreviation for what you see is what you get. So WYSIWYG means the model is actually showing the equipment that it has. So when you see something with a chainsword and a bolt pistol, if the model is actually using a chainsword and a bolt pistol in the game, it's WYSIWYG. When it's not using that, we refer to it as the Mark of Dave, which is a term that we kind of coined a while ago when it's, you know, the model was built with something else in mind, but for this game we're going to treat it with different equipment. So for example, if you have a Hellbrute with a Melta on the model itself, but you want to use it as the twin last cannon, that would be Mark of Dave. So that's what we use right there. Pardon me, Sir Christopher at Darling Beverly. I don't think that's for me, but I'll answer it anyway. Why Harlequins? Is it the playstyle or the look and colors of the army that drew you to them? Valen Dank? Hope I got that name right. I like the Harlequins because they are the one Eldar faction that kind of drew my attention. I liked the aesthetics of them. I liked looking at in the color back in 7th edition when I started to play them a little bit. And now that their playstyle is very much something that I enjoy, which is a glass cannon that's incredibly fast as a hit and run type idea, I find the playstyle works really, really well for me. But it was the actual aesthetics of the models and the poses and things that got me interested in the first place. And then on top of that, I got into their lore a little bit and started to understand what they do, or probably why they do it, and that just topped it off for me. I think they're kind of like a Cirque du Soleil type army, and I think that's really cool. William Ka at Quirk, your life has been turned into a parody of an anime. In what style is it, and who are the voice actors? Oh, well, that's kind of that's a very open-ended question actually, because style as in like art style, or style as in like what type of anime are we talking about? If it's art style, I'm just going to go with, you know, generic art style, I guess, what you'd see on like One Piece, Naruto, Full Metal Alchemist, stuff like that. If I had to pick one that it would be, I would probably say Full Metal Alchemist, just because I like that show. I think it's awesome, and I like the idea of how they kind of implemented the whole, you can rearrange the atoms and molecules and everything like that to basically make new formulas. Who would be the voice actors? Oh, I'm just going to go with 3 actors out there that I would think would do an amazing job. First one is going to be Bradley Cooper, because I like when he did the voice of Rocket in Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to go with, Morgan Freeman, because he's in everything. And then let's also go with Samuel L. Jackson. So those would be the 3 voice actors that I would definitely put in there for doing that. Yeah, that's where I'd go with that one. Big red 3 ball. Quirk, any love for Legion of the Damned? Not really. I think their lore's kind of cool, where it's you know, they just kind of pop up out of the warp. They don't say anything. They're like just in black clad armor that's always on fire. I think that's really cool. But no, they just I've never really looked at them aside from just a little bit of lore that they have right there. So, Random Roy, Sir Quirks a lot of the Glade. 3 questions. 1, I really want to do Slaanesh Demon Army in 40k, mainly for the Forge World Keeper of Secrets model. Is it worth bothering seeing if as there will never be a Fulgrim? And it looks like GW is only pushing Nurgle and Tzeentch. Who would win in a fist fight at MiniWarGaming? What are your thoughts of doing a 40k game with Necromunda style unit activation? Okay. So first one, the Slaanesh Demon Army has actually a lot of potential if you run it properly. And the thing is, that army is incredibly fast. Like, they almost on par with Harlequins for their ability to just get across the board and get into combat. Very, very cool that they always get to fight first. And then on top of all of that, that one Forge World model is amazing. I played it once at Adepticon, and that model by itself pretty much tabled me. It's also really cool because you can take the Fiends and tie up a unit, and when the Fiends are engaged in combat, the unit that they're engaging with can't fall back. So that's really cool. Neat little way to kind of give you a bit more board control. Who would win in a fist fight? Luca. Hands down, it'd be Luca. And what are your thoughts on doing a 40k game with Necromunda style unit activation? It would be neat, but I feel like that would take forever. Just the constant going back and forth, that would take a very long time. So, moving on to the next page here. Fear the Nads. There's X's in there, but I think I see what you're doing there. Quirk. Hello, sir. I have a large 40k army and tend to play a lot of games against an opponent who plays Eldar. I have access to just about anything imaginable except for Stampas and Morkanauts. How would you suggest building a list to combat the strengths of the Eldar, or at least keep things competitive in a non-objective based game? Thanks, and keep being awesome. Okay. Well, first off, we got to take a look at what the weaknesses of the Eldar is. And I don't know what's in your opponent's list. I don't know what he brings, but usually the thing that really shuts down Eldar is not having board control. So you're able to spam a ton of boys all over the place and just shut them down where they aren't able to get anywhere. And when you start doing that, you can kind of slowly push them into a corner and kill them that way. That's one of the big weaknesses that they suffer against when you're playing against orcs. The other thing that you really want to deal with or use is you gotta have to understand that pretty much every shot they fire is probably gonna cut through your armor or kill something. And they have a ton of things that make it really hard to hit them with shooting. So you kind of want to veer away from shooting type units. So you're going to not really bring your Ludas. You're not going to bring your mechs, your mech guns. Sorry, the guns that you would want to bring if you wanted to actually do some damage to them would be Scorches, Burnas, anything that automatically hits. And the other thing that would probably work really, really well against them would be just a big blob of boys. And doing the jump, throwing them across the board, and getting them just in your opponent's face as fast as humanly possible. That would be a giant pain for them. Orcs kind of struggle when it comes to trying to be able to shut down specific things like characters that are supporting everything. They're not very good at kind of singling out models. They just kind of engulf everything. They're a horde army, right? So, sup, Steve?
I can't do it.
What?
I was going to try to dive past.
Oh, that would be amazing. Hang on. Off camera right now, Steve is...
I made it! My Raven Guard's in!
Well, Steve's super excited.
Guys, the Raven Guard's in!
His Raven Guard is in. Alright. Yeah, Steve, I think you'd agree with me on this one. Or you're going to read your little note first. He's reading his little note first.
Joe White, if you're watching for Sit and Talk, I thank you, sir. Yes, go ahead. Which question?
So the question is, Fear the Nads has a very large orc army.
Okay.
I know. Has everything except for Stampa, Morkanaut, Gorkanaut. Having a hard time dealing with Eldar. What could
I'm not going to lie. Can you start over? I was looking at one more time.
Big orc army, no Stampa, no Gorkanaut, Morkanaut. How do you deal with Eldar?
Okay, so honestly, there's the one answer which everybody knows is flood the table with boys.
That's exactly what I said.
You flood the table with boys.
Yep. So my answers were, you don't want to go with shooting. Avoid shooting completely because that's not going to do anything. The negatives are a moot point. If you do need to bring guns, Burnas and Scorches.
Yep.
because
They're not bad either,
they are. If you put them in trucks, it's open top. Truck goes flying up the board. They're assault. You're just like, okay, there's 10 boys. It's like dead.
You advance that truck in every time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if there's another way.
One of the things I was actually saying right there is that orcs have a really, really hard time singling out models and characters and stuff like that, where every army that's been coming out right now has an easy way or access to something like spells or snipers or really fast units that can jump around that can very easily single out models, and Eldar have a lot of characters that they rely on for certain things. You got Yvrain, you got Farseers, you got Warlocks, you got all this other stuff that they have the character keywords so that they're protected, and it's really difficult to get past that.
Yeah. So I think the easiest way to answer the question would be you win on scenario.
He's not playing objective-based games, so I'm saying, how would you...
Is this kill point games?
Basically, yeah. Flood the board is my answer.
So max squads of boys.
Yeah, I was saying
rough.
it's tough, but I was going to say max out boys, jump them across the board. Essentially, you want to push the Eldar player into a corner. And yeah, Psychers mean...
Smite will work.
Orcs Smite is expensive and difficult.
It's true, but I mean, okay, so if you fill unfortunately, if you paint 1,000 orc boys, you fill the table and just keep going forward, you'll catch your stuff, he'll have nowhere to go, and he will be caught in combat.
Yes.
He will kill things.
Because in combat boys are pretty amazing. Actually, they're super amazing. Sorry, I'm going to veer off of answering questions for a second because this got me interested in a thing. Just very recently did a breakdown video, and I've been excited to tell Steve how well this went. Remember that Zangor list that I was running?
Yeah, they walked in the room and laughed. What is this crap?
Yeah, Zangors are amazing.
Are they really?
They are brokenly good.
Wow.
They're 7 points a model. They have Space Marine stats aside from their save. 6-inch move, 3+ to hit for shooting, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound. Leadership is meh. I think it's like 7 or 6.
So here's the thing: Space Marines are garbage.
But it's the stat line.
They're 70 points, right?
Yeah.
They're garbage because of the points. They're half the points of a Space Marine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the thing. You can
only have pistols, right?
Yeah. No, you don't take the pistol. You take the blade because the blade is strength user, but it's -1 AP, 1 damage, and they're 2 attacks apiece because the blade gives them an extra attack. It's basically a buffed up chainsword. But what makes them really good is they have the Heretic Astartes keyword, so they can benefit from prescience. They can benefit prescience, whatever. They can benefit from Glimmer of Tzeentch, which gives them the buff to their invulnerable save, because they have a 5-up invuln. It becomes a 4-up invuln. And you can also give them the other spell, I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but it gives them -1 to hit. So you have a unit of 30 guys with toughness 4, 4-up invuln, -1 to hit. Okay? Now get this. You can take a shaman. If he's within 6 inches of that unit, they also get +1 to hit. So now these guys are hitting on 2s, re-rolling because of Heretic Astartes. You have a character nearby, he's giving them re-rolling 1s to hit. And they go in, you have 30 strong. If you're able to get them all in, that's 60 attacks, hitting on 2s, re-rolling, strength 4, -1 AP, 1 damage.
That's kind of gross.
Now, how about this? They have access to a stratagem. For 2 command points, fight again in the fight phase.
Huh. And then you have a crap ton of smite spammer behind.
Yes. Zangors are amazing. So, anyway, back to the questions. Sorry, I got way off topic on that one, but I was just super excited to tell you that because I was like, this is amazing. Because Steve literally walked into the studio, looked at my army, and went,
"What is this crap?
What is this? This is terrible." And just watch. If you can see, go, if the video's not going to go up for a little while, but keep an eye out for it. It's a good one. Kent McKean. Hey Quirk, I appreciate that you provide so much Ironjaws content for the channel. Why don't you utilize the Ironjaws command traits and artifacts? Most times I see you use the Grand Alliance Destruction, Allegiance abilities, and take just the Battle Brew. Is this a joke that I'm missing? No question that us Destruction players don't have all the amazing options newer armies have, but we at least got to use the few things we do, or we have, right? Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm going to be 100% honest with this one. I always forget that Ironjaws have artifacts. Yeah. And I'll look at them and be like, okay, yeah. And then when it comes time to actually play the game, I'm just like, Battle Brew. Because that's just the one I know off the top of my head. So, and if I don't and I say I'm going to bring something else, I forget I have it. That's the reason why. I know we have awesome artifacts. I just always forget them. Okay, I think you just put your email in here. I'm going to call you Morgan. He put his username, I think, is his email. All right. Hey, Quirk. Have you had the opportunity to do a rematch with your Harlequins versus Death Guard?
Wait. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Real quick. Why is rematch?
Because I'm used to seeing rematch, match, so it's weird seeing it as one word for me.
So it took you slower.
Honestly, I was like, it's rematch, okay. I watched the bat rep where you used your list and were taken to a tournament that was so painful to watch, but I would love to see a rematch just to see how well those two armies do against each other. Keep up the good work. Oh, yeah. I think that was the game that I played against Luca and his death. He just made every disgusting resilient roll.
Really?
I put 11 wounds onto his plague drone, and he disgusting resilient did 8 of them.
Just want to go down, eh?
I'm like, all right, there's 11 wounds. This should kill it. He's like, no, I only take 3. I'm like, I hate you. I hate you so much. This should work. I had no intention of doing a rematch, but I mean, if you guys are asking for it and we find some time somewhere to do a 40k match between Luca and I, sure. There's no reason why we can't do that. Drake Steele. Hey Quirk, I asked this question to Josh and Lee, but I figured it's worth asking you as you play a decent amount of Chaos. What do you think Games Workshop could change for the other Legion's traits in Chaos Space Marine Codex to bring them closer to the strength of the Alpha Legion trait? Things like removing the leadership debuff cap on Night Lords, letting Black Legion advance and fire rapid fire without penalty, etc. Because it's pretty clear Alpha Legion have the best trait in the book, and all other ones are somewhat between mediocre and bad, especially Word Bearers. I agree. The thing that I think Games Workshop kind of did with that is they stacked too many things into the Alpha Legion. They made it where it's outside of 12 inches, we're -1. They get access to the Alpha Legion stratagem where they can just infiltrate it on the board. And you know what? That's 100% how Alpha Legion would play. What I think they need to do is kind of allow the relics and tools and things like that for the other ones to actually fit into the armies a little bit better. Because I'm starting to notice very much with a lot of the codexes when they get into things like the dynasties, the clans, which not clans, what is it?
Or what?
Masks, that's what it is. I was trying to think of the Harlequins, yeah. The masks, things like that. They get really close, or they get 100% on the nose with some of them for like the trades, the artifacts, the relics, the stratagem, stuff like that. And then other ones, it's just like, I think they just kind of ran out of options and copied and pasted this from another book. I think they need to actually take the time to look at it and say, okay, because they don't need to take anything away from Alpha Legion. Alpha Legion is 100% how you would expect them to play. It's what they do. What I think they would have to do is actually go into it and say, okay, let's go with Night Lords, for example. They need something that forces your opponent to make an extra morale check, or rolling 2 dice on the morale, and then just getting all kinds of things that modify leadership, because they actually did it phenomenally well for the Harlequins, where you can get your opponent at -5 leadership and then force them to take a morale check on 2 dice, taking the highest. They should do that for Night Lords, because that's kind of the lore with Night Lords, right? Like they come in, they scare somebody, they basically are like, boo, spooky, scary. I'm sorry, I'm not. They do. And then the way that you can represent that in the game is, you know, if you're within X range of them, they have to roll 2 dice for the morale check, taking the highest at -1, and then they have a bunch of different weapons and tools that make them additional -1. For example, if you gave them some sort of a relic weapon, whether it's a gun or automatic hitting anything, or melee weapon, where if it causes a wound to a unit, that unit suffers -2 leadership until the next shooting phase or melee phase or whatever. That would be awesome, and that would make sense for Night Lords. But it's not in there. So, but they went and gave it to Harlequins. So yeah, that's kind of where I think they need to go with that, is just revisit everything and just kind of get right back into it. Hi, Dave.
How's it going?
Good, how are you? Nice shirt.
Good, thanks. Awesome. What is this? I don't know what this is, but hi.
Sit and talk.
Oh, I knew what it was.
Oh, okay.
It's funny, I thought you were talking to Steve. I was going to come in here and, like, maul you.
Wait, when is this going up?
Tomorrow? No, Friday. Wait, what day's today?
And what we just did going up on Saturday?
Yeah.
Everybody's watching right now. You can't see either of us, but you got to watch the Vault video and Dave's Space Wolf review. He's had an amazing game. We just finished it.
Oh, yeah.
An amazing game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't mean to hijack the video.
No, that's fine.
I don't mind.
I think everybody's got to do it at this point. So this is what happens when you film your sit and talk at 20 after 4. I was busy today. All right.
I've seen you all day.
I haven't been here. I've been running errands. GM Wayne, hey Quirk, wanted to first off, I live you guys. I think you mean love.
I live us too.
I live us too.
I live me every day, actually.
Y'all help me get my Warms gaming fix because I live out in the country. Sorry.
Buddy, you're my faves.
It's the.
You type like I do.
This is awesome. Oh, okay. I see what you did. Yeah, he hit the I on the keyboard instead of the O, and he hit the S instead of the A.
No, that's what he meant to say.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I live in the country, and the drive to my closest shop is a bit far. Also, is there an army in 40K that you think is easier to learn than the others? Thanks.
Space Marines.
No. No, goodness, no.
Really?
No. Everybody wants to say Space Marines, but think about it. And now Josh is here.
No, I'm not. That was graceful.
Like a gazelle. Josh, Steve, what do you guys think is the easiest army to play? I'm not saying Space Marines.
Easiest army- What do you mean? What do you mean by to play?
Sorry, not to play, to learn is what he says.
Learn?
Yeah.
I thought Space Marines were really easy to learn.
Well, think about the depth of them, right? You got all the different chapters, you got all the different relics, you got all the different units.
No more
They have the
so.
most units in the they have the most units aside from Eldar, I think.
So what do you say would be easier to play?
I think the easiest to learn for a new player to be Space Marines, but they'd be tougher to master. But if you want the
Yeah.
basic game,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Space Marines.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
I would have thought maybe orcs or something,
Decals on this.
but okay.
Decals.
So there you go.
Decals.
Decals.
Decals. I understand this. Tolkien flavor. Whatever. Gatling size. Is it?
I don't think that's a question for me, so we're gonna move on.
How to approximate those.
Oh,
What's that?
I didn't realize you had-
Josh, you're here. The Welsh bloke. Hi, Josh.
Hi.
Just wanted to say that I absolutely agree with your comment on fantasy at the end. I still play the odd game of fantasy with my group. Heck, I've made a few new armies since fantasy came out and to an end. Just had to trade/buy some square bases. If you get bored of the rules, try another edition or just stop playing for a bit. When was the last time they changed when was the last time they changed the rules for chess? Isn't that game still going strong? Finally, I'm thinking of coming over to from the UK. I just wanted to play fantasy though. Would 5 days of fantasy be possible at MiniWarGaming?
I mean, it's always possible. If you're interested in it, shoot me an email and we'll see what we can
All
set
they can
up.
see right now is your beard. That's
all they-
it's
that's
just
all that they
it's
come
just
here
like
for anyways. It's just a goat that's here. Meh. Meh. I don't know. It depends.
I'll do it.
If you would get us, if we're excited to play fantasy, then sure. So
I'll do it.
yeah,
Steve said I'll do it. So.
yes. But yeah, I think I was saying the fact that they're not putting out new rules just means that you don't ever have to buy new stuff. Keep playing the game.
There
The
you go.
chess analogy is good.
Yeah, I like that. Fronger. Hey, Quirk, quick question. Will you guys ever play the new Heralds of Ruin Kill Team stuff? Love the old one you made. Keep it real. I don't think we have any plans to do anything for that, so probably not. But, you know, you never really know. It could sneak up. It could pop up. We might do it, so. Moving on, we have Dezakazol. Okay, let's go with Dezakazol. Dear Quirk, first off, thanks for being awesome and making awesome videos. A lot of you at MiniWarGaming. It was you guys who convinced me to become a Vault member, and I've never once regretted the decision since. You guys are great. Well, thank you. With that one out of the way, a question, sort of, for you and Steve.
What's my question?
I don't know. Let's find out. We've seen various Imperial and Imperial Space Marine versus Space Marine chapter bat reps, but I'm not really aware of a single Eldar versus Dark Eldar bat rep. Even how you Eldar
Yep,
and
go to my channel. There's numerous ones.
there you go.
Is that cool? Is that legit?
There you go. Go to Steve's channel.
Who's gonna beat that?
Go to Mountain Miniatures Gaming on YouTube.
Enjoy that entire section of beep.
Yeah, Mountain Miniatures on YouTube. You'll find plenty of those games actually. Me and Chris played quite a few times actually.
You had this awesome new guy on there doing Age of Sigmar for you too. He's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
So there you go.
And then me.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
I met people that always laugh. Yeah.
Oh, and what's the story behind Beverly exactly? If one of my, if I may
Chris will
inquire.
never admit it, but his middle name is Beverly. His parents
not.
are weird hippies, and he won't admit it. I know because I've met his dad.
What?
Everything I just said.
Your mother's a lovely lady too, by the way.
Thank you.
Your parents are great. They're weird hippies that named you Beverly. Whatever, I still think they're fantastic people. You have a weird name though, dude.
Anyway, Steve at one point in a sit and talk was asked to name everybody by their full name,
That's
and
actually not true.
he got to me and he goes, I want to say Beverly, and he just kept going. I was like, oh, all right, okay. let's see. Next one we got here. Mac at Beverly QFed. With the release of Adeptus Titanicus coming out, will you be getting into it? Anything upcoming that you have excited at the moment? Oh, anything upcoming that have you excited at the moment? I have no intention of getting into Titanicus. I think Josh does.
I own stuff already because I stole it.
So Josh stole stuff and he owns it now.
How did you steal? How did you steal? Where'd you steal?
Okay, so I took half of the studio stuff and claimed it as my own and promised to replace it when I can get more.
We can do that?
I don't know. I did.
I'm claiming. I
Don't
know.
stop looking at my shelf. Also, anything upcoming that has me excited at the moment? Oddly enough, Age of Sigmar Champions has me super excited. I went and bought all 4 decks.
Except for you're terrible at it.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
Why do we pick on Quirk the most on camera? To be fair, Quirk picks on everybody the most off camera. That's why we all seem like bullies to him. We actually bully him on camera because Quirk will not break his little innocent boy persona on camera.
Yeah, but you got a big back tattoo. You're not the kind of person you come
Yeah,
across.
show him all your skeevy tattoos. Wait, show me what you got in 1990. I mean, last year.
They like to make fun of my tattoos. They're mean.
What do you do?
And on a side note, my back is super itchy right now.
Oh, you got a new one?
Yeah, I've got like a full back tattoo.
When?
Saturday.
I'm gonna slap you in the back so hard as soon as you're done filming.
Yeah,
As soon as that camera's off.
He's got big angel wings on his back now.
You are the angel. This is all gonna get edited.
I really hope so. I really hope so. But yeah, I'm actually really excited right now for Age of Sigmar Champions. Just getting into it. I can't find. I've got all 4 decks. I can't find booster packs, and it's driving me insane. So, LeBaron. Hey Quirk, how do I get in touch with you? I want to send you a list of orcs that I have for a 2,000 2,500 point game that I have coming up. Also, how PO'd are you that Gene Stealers are getting new models before orcs? Orcs are getting new stuff. They got oh, actually, that Games Workshop video with the orc car, is that Gorka Morka or is that
Here's
a remake?
Have you seen this weird picture of to me, I can't say. Guys, I'm not releasing anything, like, I don't, how do I put this? Don't take what I'm about to say as actual thing. I saw a picture that looks like orc vehicle sprues in a box that are red and yellow plastic. It appears to be like a Gorka Morka type box. That's what people are claiming. I don't know if that's true. If that's true, I gotta try to find the picture for you.
Okay, well he's gonna try and find the picture.
Okay, so what I've seen so far is it looks like a box set called Speed Freaks.
Yeah.
And like Steve said, there's 2 different colors in there, and they appear to be buggy. So I don't know if this is like a standalone box game, or if they're gonna do the good old, like, it's a standalone box game, but it's got the 40K models in it, and this is the cheap way to get them. I assume that's what it is.
Okay.
Like Raiders of Kimura or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
whatever that was. Okay, so yeah, they're getting some new stuff there at least. I mean, I saw that video and that car looks awesome. Like the buggy with the grot sitting on it. That's so cool. All right. Gwenor. Hello, Quirk. If you were to start playing.
That's his name?
Gwenor.
Oh, I heard someone else.
Oh, okay. If you were to start playing a new Age of Sigmar army, what would it be? Well, funny you should ask.
I got 30-ish minutes that I've been playing.
I picked up some Night Haunt models. I like the look of Night Haunt, so I'm gonna probably try and play them a little bit. So that is my plan right there. Big Mikey, Quirk, are you excited for Titanicus and Kill Team, or is it just more of the same, too busy to give much attention to it? Also, please tell us more about this Mustang of yours. I'm a huge lover of all things Ford. Keep on being awesome. Like I said before, Titanicus really doesn't excite me too much. I like the look of the models. I think they're sweet, and I like it. Kill Team, I want to get into it. I think it's a really cool, like, skirmish type game. I went through the rulebook a little bit just to kind of get an understanding of it. I like that the Harlequins only have 1 unit option, which is sweet. So I can actually make a Harlequin Kill Team rather quickly. But it's one of those, I have a lot of things on my plate right now with trying to get it all done. Pardon me. So it's kind of where I'm at right now. As for my Mustang, it is it's a 2007 California Series Mustang that's been tuned to the Roush Stage 1. So it's all chromed out. It's got some good beef to it. The inside has all been reupholstered, and I put a Hush shifting system into it, so, or gear shift into it. So yeah, that's my car. All right, so I think I have enough time right now for one more question. Yeah, I got 30 seconds. Perfect. No, don't go off. I don't need you to go off now because I did the thing. Okay. All right, so the last question we have here, we have Devil Mixer. Hey, Quirk, Lord of the Dice. Any chance you guys will play more Necromunda? Also, please play more 40K. I love seeing you play. Cheers from Denmark. All right, well, as for Necromunda, I don't know what we're really planning on doing with that. I'm sure somebody at some point is probably going to pick it up and start playing it again, and then we'll all get back into it. As for playing more 40K, I'm actually starting to get back into doing the Breakdown series. I'm not sure if you guys remember that too much, but what it is I'm starting to get more into doing my videos are based around tournament-style games. So even if you want to play these games casually, you absolutely can, but it changes the mindset that you have when you're building a list, because you're no longer just building a list and then rolling to see what objective you get and kind of going from that point. It's you need to build your list to accommodate the tournament you're going to. And so the first video, we actually take a look at my opponent's army, my army, break it down completely, talk about every individual unit, what their job is, what they're going to be doing in the mission, why I brought them the way I brought them, why they're going to do what I need them to do. Hopefully try and do a little bit of theory about it, and then in the vault we actually go ahead and put all these theories to the test and see how well it works. Now it's a little bit different because you're not playing to table your opponent because some tournaments just end it right there, and even if you table your opponent, you're losing out on points, and we are legitimately playing for points on this one. And so I'm giving full tactical breakdowns of what I'm doing when I'm playing the game, why I'm going into certain things this way, why I'm trying to do certain things that way. And then of course we always have the banter between my opponent and I still have me rolling horrible dice and getting very angry at that. So it does definitely happen. But I've got 4 of them right now that I've filmed, so they should be coming out in sequence in a little bit. So look forward to that. But that's going to do it for the first 30 minutes of comments on... Actually, you know what? I only have 2 questions left out of all of these, so I'm just going to go through them right now and do them. So there you go. Forget the timer. Let's just do this. Got 2 more questions. I'm not going to rob you guys of 2 questions. Oh, sorry. Time-wise, anyway. Lang296. Hey, Quirk, I enjoy everything you do, whether it's bad dice rolling or crushing victories. It's always fun to watch. My friend has a new knight army, 3 knights and 2 warglaves, and some Skitarii to round out his 2,000 points. I've been playing Ultramarines forever. I know I'll need my Devastators, 4 lass, and 4 grav. So my question is, in a competitive game, what else would you bring? I have multiples of everything in the Codex, but no Forge World. Probably 15,000 points of army. Nice. Any suggestions would help. Thanks. Okay. Well, see, I'm seeing a lot of people are starting to bring knights. If you're playing in a competitive type game, that means you're going to be playing with objectives. So you want something with a little bit of mobility. Now, you can go with Assault Marines. Those usually do the trick. It might actually be a reason to bring Terminators because you can deep strike them in later on in the game to grab those objectives, which is quite nice. But things as an Ultramarine player that are almost staples in the army right now is, yeah, you got your Devastators. They're really good because they got just all that crazy power. But Aggressors are awesome right now, especially when you have them standing next to Guilliman, because then you can just pump out tons and tons of shots. You can throw Tiberius, the Librarian, with them as well. And at the start of the shooting phase, you can just say, okay, this unit right here is -1 to hit. So now you've got a little bit of a wall to protect him and Guilliman. And then with that firepower, you can pretty much put a good hurt on whatever you need to. Nowadays, almost everybody needs a repulsor, so you can go ahead and throw a repulsor in there because that gunboat's going to get a lot of work done against a knight. And on top of all of that, you can just go ahead and bring probably Predators or Razorbacks, just something with a little bit more hitting power. I mean, if you're tailoring to actually go up against a knight player, you want a lot of Lass, you want a lot of Melta, you want a lot of just things that are going to be able to punch giant holes through this guy with 1 shot. Knights don't really have to worry about volume of fire because a lot of volume of fire doesn't have the actual strength to cause a blade of wounds to your opponent. So you're kind of going to have to rely on that. But yeah, I would say look for getting some Aggressors in there. Throw in Guilliman because just rerolls everywhere is amazing. A Repulsor will do the trick, and then Predators or Razorbacks with Lass will definitely get some work in there as well. And then again, you can have your Terminators or you can have your jump troops just flying around the board as need be because they can jump on the objectives, which is quite nice right there. I know somebody out there is going to be like, ew, you said bring Terminators? Terminators are so bad. You're right, they are bad, but they're great at grabbing objectives. All right, and then the last one that we have here is Random Roy. Quirk, I played a game against Space Marines playing Salamanders that Markadaved so much that he forgot what his army had, and it got messy. What is the worst example of someone taking a model that was not a model in play and not even bothering to try? I used to have a converted Hero Quest Sorcerer that I converted into a Gene Stealer Magus because they hadn't released one yet back in 1993. Yes, I'm old. Okay, yeah, I've actually had that happen a couple times where I've gone to tournaments and people are just 100% Markadaving. They're using their models as whatever they need it to be at the time, which drives me insane because it's really difficult to keep track. And then on top of that, it's also a really good way for you to kind of confuse your opponent and take advantage of their confusion by getting things wrong, saying things work a different way. And I have a little bit of edge in that one because, well, I do this for work, right? So I know quite a bit about a lot of the armies out there. So when I'm playing against one and somebody quotes things like Grey Knights recently, people, I don't understand how people keep messing up Vortex of Doom, but I actually played against a Grey Knight player at one point, and he told me that his strike squads were actually the interceptors but he didn't model them with the jump pack. So I was like, okay. And then he ended up halfway through saying, no, they're a strike squad, they're OPSAC. I'm like, you just moved them 12 inches. Like they're not a strike squad. You can't do this, you can't do that. So, and then just switching back and forth with however I needed them to be at that point. And then on top of that, spells just get really messy when you start doing things like that. But as for models not working the way they're supposed to, Horde armies can be a pain with that one, I find, because people Horde army everything and then all the giant units kind of get meshed in together. So I try, and a little trick that I have for that actually, just to make life a little bit easier, is when I have two units that are getting oddly close to each other, to try and make sure I keep that line visible, especially when you do a charge with them, is you have the one unit and the other unit, all the models on the line there, have them face inward to the unit they're part of. So that way you can kind of keep track of that. That's my way of doing it there. I think it's really cool that you converted your Gene Stealer Magnus from the Hero Quest Sorcerer. I remember back when Necrons first came out with all their new models and they did their whole like sectioned off release, they didn't come out with a Triarch Stalker, and it was driving me insane because I really wanted the Triarch Stalker at the time. So I ended up taking I think I took the Ghost Ark and I made my own Triarch Stalker from that. And then when the model actually came out, I was like, oh, it was so close. It almost looks like the model. I was super happy about that. But anyway, guys, that is actually it for this week's Sit and Talk. I thought I had more questions, but I guess I just kind of burned through it a little bit more than a little bit faster than I thought I would. So one more reminder before we call it a day. Next week is going to be a Sit and Talk with Steve. So if you have any questions or comments for him, again, just in the comment section from the website, put Steve and then your question or comment so that he knows it's for him. And otherwise, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this Sit and Talk. I know I had fun doing it. It was nice to have everybody kind of jump in and help me out with some of the questions. So always fun. But thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, happy wargaming.